Good morning, MUT 213, spring 2018. It is Wednesday, April 11th, also 2018. And I'm going to give you a test on Friday that you're going to take home. And it's going to be super easy. I really am trying to see what it's going to take for you people to be perfect. Do you check your work? I'm referencing your test. They were generally quite good, if you consider B's good. I don't. This is USA. You gotta make A's. You gotta make A's. Besides that, I think you'll all do really well, and you're all super smart, talented, engaging, all of that. Okay, how to figure out how much each thing counted. There are 35 things, so you do the following math in your head. Okay. There's a little child that lives in my pocket.
That's creepy.
Is that helpful? Okay, so there's 35 things. So if you divide 35 into 100, you'll get an answer of something a little less than 3, correct? Yeah. And you multiply that by the number of X's you have on your paper. And then you subtract 100, and then you make that a positive number, and that's your grade. Okay? That just makes it easier than having to like take this value here and then put the 100 on the other side and subtract it. That requires another something. I only gave back one paper. I was unable to find another person present, so. Okay. We have a 50% grade on our attendance today. Look, going up.
53.
55. If I can get back another paper. This is exciting video for my content. I am your content provider. All right. I am yet to able to predict the amount of things that you can do to foul things up. So let me just go with that. We're gonna do this whole thing, and then we're gonna do some counterpoint. I like counterpoint a lot, so I'm looking forward to doing that. So let's think of all the ways we can make this okay. And let's not use that paper, huh? This is yours. Now, I think we all were able to get this one, and that didn't count into 35, okay? For me, I would have done that. Did you have to do that? No, I'm just saying that's what I would have done. Sometimes I'll do things and then they don't work out and I'll change them. I think that is where we ran into the problem. Mainly, you got into a situation where you had a diminished fifth, didn't realize that, moved it to a perfect fifth. That was the choices you had to make in this test. Now, if all of this is a dominant seventh chord, that means it has to resolve as such, just not in the bass. So if we add that, we have another dominant seventh chord. Yes? Gonna sound a little jazzy. Okay, so there's only one way to resolve that chord, and that's like that. To me, other than this decision here, there aren't any decisions to make. Your hand should just naturally move over those notes. Okay, and I think most of you did. Now, if you decided to do something else, that might have worked. I don't think it's the most basic of the voice leading. Did anyone else have anything in the first measure that I could help you with? Even if it's not necessarily wrong, just something that you did different. Also, might be wrong and I didn't mark it. There's always that potential. I was watching House Hunters while I was grading this. And my wife, thoughtful person that she is, would stop the show and make me look up when something interesting happened. It's always the B-roll. Do you know what the B-roll is? That's when they go around town and take pictures of stuff that they're going to use as little placeholders in any movie, TV show, anything like that. But on House Hunters, the B-roll is just shots of the city. So if it's House Hunters International, you get to see, in this case, it was Berlin. So that's most of things about the rest of the world I understand is from House Hunters International. Last night it was a radio show host from Seattle who was going to continue being the morning show guy in Berlin, in Seattle, like remotely. I don't know what radio show hosts earned, but you know what their rent budget was? You'll never guess. $4,000 a month. That's more than my take-home pay, you know. So I couldn't have rented that place. if I was doing remote theory from Berlin. Because they really don't need me to teach theory in Germany, I assure you. There are plenty of qualified individuals. Okay, now, what would I do next with the F? Okay, there's choices here, right? DGB, GBD. What do you think I did?
GBD.
I don't know what I did. I didn't do this. So what should I do?
GBD.
EGB.
GBD.
Or I'm talking about like, never mind. DBG. Yeah.
That's still GBD.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Okay. Yeah, I generally go bass up or tenor up
Oh,
when
okay.
I'm spelling chords.
Okay.
I'm sorry that we just come into this. My bad. Okay, I will do it. But I don't think Bailey did that, did you? You did?
Did the GB.
That's what I did.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we'll do this for now, and then we'll go back. There is something that I consider pretty awkward when you do this way. Actually, I've already changed my mind. Okay. So that's got to do this. Okay? Now, in the other life, we would just have that or something, right? A and C. Okay, then the next chord is D, F, A, C. So I'm probably going to keep my C because, and we could have come to this chord from the other direction too. Is this what you had, Bailey?
The third chord, I still with the C on bottom. The third one.
And so you moved your A down there? I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would have done this. Now, so that's a 5-7 chord that needs to resolve. Now the reason I would have done this is that I like to treat the 7th as a suspension-like thing, if that makes sense. Now, the only thing indicated here was flat 5, but since this is deception, we know that we're gonna double the G. And this did seem to be a bit of an issue. One, if you double the E flat or the B flat, you have doubled a chromatically altered note, which is not the thing to do. Let me say that again, okay? If you have a chromatically altered note, we don't double it, ever. If your name is Bach, maybe, but I don't think you will find that many instances of that in the music of Bach. Okay? So what are we not gonna do? Double chromatically altered notes. What are we gonna do? In deception, we're gonna double the tonic. And double the tonic. Okay, so any questions through bar 2? Bar none, bar 2. Are we good? Does everyone understand, those who are there and those who are here? Okay, so the next thing to me just screams Neapolitan in the major mode. That's what that looks like. Okay? So we want to double the C. To me, since this note goes down to C, I'm going to choose that note to go up to C. Did that make sense? Okay, here is where we start being terrible theoreticians, right at this point in our lives. we have decided we're gonna be terrible. All right. Now, this is a fully diminished seventh chord, I promise you. C sharp, E natural, for those of you who didn't natural your E flat, that's what the X is for. C sharp, E natural, G, and B flat. Now to me, if you do this, please write the right note. That seems to be the basic voice leading pattern for this. Now, if you think about it, what does the Neapolitan do? It is a predominant that goes to a dominant. Sometimes that progression is extended through either cadential 6/4 or in this case, fully diminished seventh chord of 5, 7, 7 of 5. We've done this before, yes? How many times? 11 times. 11 times we have done this before. 11 times. So that's why we know that the perfect fourth can resolve downward. Yes? To me, what's the one thing that has, I got the wrong notes, didn't I? Time out. We've got issues here. Would y'all rather just talk to each other? Because I just misspelled that chord. Did nobody realize that I had a C against a C sharp? No? No? Okay, so if I write this chord, what's wrong? Yeah, I've got a B flat. Oh, that's good. What does this have to resolve to? It has to resolve to 2 F sharps, doesn't it? Is this true? Think about the resolution of this fully diminished seventh chord. C sharp against G goes D to F sharp. E against B flat goes A and F sharp. So this is why we're not going to do this. Okay? Look, if you take this chord here and resolve it to here, you've got fifths. How many of you got that counted off? Well, you don't have to say off public, but that's fifths, right? Diminished to perfect, not allowed. So that means this voicing would resolve like this. And that wouldn't be a thing except that that's the leading tone. Anybody following along with this? That we don't double the leading tone. So, ergo, EC, what some of you did, which was, I probably wrote something like not the best or something like that. That's not technically wrong. It just looks weird, don't you think? And what else is wrong? Well, we gotta have a B flat there, or it really would be wrong, wouldn't it? Okay, so for me, I could accept that, and I did. But really, the right thing to do would be this. Now, is that a direct octave with the bass? Yes, but not with the soprano. So it's all good, isn't it? Now then that allows for that, yes, and then that allows for that because an augmented fourth may move down by step. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So, to me, there could have been a difference here, but I think this is the way to do this. Some of you did leap. What that does is put you in a cross relationship between E flat and E natural. Do we know what a cross relationship is? That's when you have a flat in the tenor that becomes a natural in the soprano, as opposed to a much more organic, pesticide-free kind of version of E flat to E natural there. Okay? I think that's the thing to do there. I really do. I think that's the thing to do. And then E flat is looks to me like a French fried sixth chord, yes? That in some countries they put mayonnaise on. Mayonnaise is, I used to like mayonnaise before I was a vegan, but how I preferred it was bread, peanut butter, mayonnaise. Because you got the tart. Everybody, I'm so enjoying this. This is how I feel about every food thing you describe. Is like mayonnaise on peanut butter. Okay, so augmented sixth has got to be this. I mean, come on. I don't think we can do anything different there, do you? I believe that's beautiful. That, or maybe those are the wrong notes.
No, that's it.
The wrong notes are on this one. I'll have to deal with her later. Okay, so the next note is 5. So that's gotta go to there. And that's gotta go to there, and that's gonna go to there. Is that a double bar situation? Yes, it is. Okay, let's hear that so that when you hear it, it just doesn't sound all that strange. Oops. Not bad. So that's really kind of weird, I guess. Characterize this French sixth chord. If I were you, I would say it's a neighbor function because we have the dominant and the dominant. Where in fact is the cadence is right here. Yeah, 7
Yeah.
to 5, so this would be 7:05 to 5. That's kind of if that were a cadence, what would we call it? If I were you, I would call it a reinforced half cadence. But the way the chromaticism is, that would just be sort of theoretical. Now, the next one, very excitingly, has 2 lines. So, I know you're all looking forward to that. Do you have any questions about the next 2 lines right off the bat? Like you don't understand why you don't have your paper? Is anyone concerned about Sam like I am? Who? Sam. Who's Sam? That's our concern level. Any questions about the next 2 lines? Now, oddly, you see in the first measure where I changed the F sharp to an F natural, if I had left that as an F sharp, never mind. Okay, one of the major flaws I saw in line 2 was people just left out G sharp when it was in the figured bass. Can't help you much there. Okay, the other thing was inability to write a passing 6/4 chord correctly. Do we all understand passing 6/4 chord? Many of you got it right, but those that didn't get it right tended to write B natural moving to C natural while the bass moves B natural to C sharp. So parallel imperfect octaves. Did I was the only one who did that. Okay. I was the only one listening, and I was only kind of listening. If I say something inappropriate, please forget that I said it. All right? Because I won't. Do you have a question about the next 2 lines? Because this is really dreary. Go ahead.
Could you do the first measure of line 3?
Okay. The main problem that folks had here was they just kept the common tone moving from the end of the first line, second line to the third line, and that's going to get you immediately in a 2/5 situation. Let me show you how you don't want to do this, okay? And then I'll show you how to do want to do this. This is the last line of this example. The very last line on your page. Okay. So, did anyone have that voicing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the next thing would be the Neapolitan, and I don't know, you could do that, or you could do this, maybe. Let's see which might work. Now, if we did this, the next thing is this fully diminished 7th chord of 5. So what we do not want to do is double the chromatically altered note. No, I'm sorry. Somebody's being I was about to say dumbass, but that seemed inappropriate. Someone was being incorrect. This is the note we don't want to double. I accidentally circled the wrong /3. That's on me. And I'll answer for that one day. Okay, so this is the note we don't want to double. That's a G sharp. But many people would think F moving to F sharp would be a hell of a thing to do. Good. It is a hell of a thing to do. But now, if I resolve this correctly, that's what I get. And then what happens is I get that.
Could you just frustrate the F sharp to E? Okay.
Why? Because that would be a diminished fifth moving to a perfect fifth.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't want that voicing. We don't want 2/5 here. That's for Friday night. We want some else. So we got to do something else. So let's try this voicing, and then D sharp, F sharp, A, C. Now I've got me some fourths, don't I? And then I can do this. All right, that would all be fun there. And then I think we're going to do some deception, if I'm not being deceived here. So deception involves doubling the time, doesn't it? Okay, now, even though you're moving down roots a third apart, you can't keep all the common tones, obviously. To me, I might have wanted to get to a more realistic voicing there so I wouldn't have to write so many ledger lines, but I might decide that on the next, I could have done that differently. I could have put the F here. Okay, let's see if I can finish this up. C. Now, you can literally double anything on a 1/6 chord, but to me, the note to double is probably the A. And you could have doubled that down here too. Let's see if that's going to work out. Now the next note in a minor mode kind of screams German 6. German 6! Okay, so we do need us a D sharp. That would be okay. And then that very nicely moves to our 1/6/4 chord and our 5 chord. And then you could have a variety of 1 chords here. Either one of those is acceptable. But I don't know, they're both the same. One's perfect, one's imperfect. Did anyone have a question with that? I did find it kind of funny that our percussionist couldn't get the rhythm right on the third line. Whereas our singers all did fine. Oh, we've got a red pen.
That's $1 million.
Is that like freshman theory all over, or was it always green?
It was green.
Did you have some blues?
Yeah.
Kind of Christmassy. That's
Green and blue.
somehow
You're colorblind.
discriminatory. All right, we're gonna put the red pen onto the holder by the board, so it will be there for Dr. Franklin next time. Are we ready? Is it sitting there? I bet it almost was there. No, not even?
Just checking.
I don't think I'm gonna, I mean, to bounce it off, you gotta hit it really low, so I'm gonna have to pretty much swish it, don't you think?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Nailed it.
No, don't lie to him.
Video. Got it on video.
Literally, don't lie to him.
There it is! That's the best thing I've done all week. Because really I haven't helped out any charities or anything like that. I've really been kind of a jerk mostly. Let's do some first species counterpoint. For this, you need paper and pen. So, ew, let's do this. So much fun. I didn't even need to. Okay, we're gonna do E minor, please, a minor for a heart of gold. The Cantus firmus will be in the bass. Okay, right here we see the raised 6th and 7th degree going to the tonic, so don't be confused by that. This is what we're not going to do. We're not going to write strong, big, perfect consonances, except on the first beat and the last beat. The last beat is going to be an E. Okay? And it is going to be some kind of authentic cadence, closure libera or inverted closure libera. In my mind, tell me exactly what this is going to be here. Or in your mind, what are we going to call this cadence? I don't think so, since that expands from a 6 to an octave. And this would have to contract to a 6 to an octave, yes?
Yes.
So it would be inverted.
Yes.
Okay, so if it's inverted, we know that that's gonna be our note there. Okay, well, we do know that this note here is not gonna be C sharp or C natural. Okay? It's not gonna be G. What else are we not gonna do? Write any dissonant intervals harmonically or melodically. Any dissonant leaps melodically, no dissonant intervals harmonically. Okay. Now, this is more challenging in that this is a challenging perfect interval. What that really looks like is what should happen, because we don't want to write E, E. Okay? So could we have written B, E? Yes. And I think for this example, we could make the exception of an imperfect consonant on the first beat. So either B or G would be there. I really believe that really, if I started on B, leaping to E would be kind of fun. If I started on G, would I be leaping up to E? No. Why? That's a major sixth. We don't want to leap sevenths, major sixths, or augmented intervals. So a minor sixth, yes. Major sixth, no. So that's just kind of a thing. So maybe I'm coming to this. Maybe that would be super fun. And what I could do is with my bad keyboard skills, I could just say, well, how's that going to sound? What's a fifth sound like? Yep. I think it's lovely. Or, that's probably the most natural thing.
Why can't you write a major six? Like, why can't you leave that?
It happens.
Well, of course.
It's that what we're doing is theory and style writing as opposed to composing. It's just they didn't do it in counterpoint. Now you'll see it, and you'll even be asked to write it sometimes, but generally they didn't do
It
it.
wasn't very common.
No, in instrumentally elaborated music, you get a lot of things, but think of the difference between how many times you've heard this, say in a major mode, say you're in this key. But this, I don't know. I can't support my argument other than common practice. Common practice. Okay. So I'm going to go with this for now. Now, this seems to me like a lovely opportunity to write a C. And I think that is the choice. I really do believe that's the choice. Now, what is my choice here? Is this a 5 chord or is it a 1 chord? It seems like it's going a little 4-y, 5-y there, doesn't it?
Yes.
So, this leaves me in a somewhat interesting position. Why? The next note cannot be D sharp because that would be an augmented interval. Could it be this? No, because this is a perfect interval there. Is this allowed? What is that? A diminished 7?
Yes.
Are diminished sevenths allowed? Yes. Because only if it resolves inward.
Yeah, but that's all.
But that's not going to happen. None of that's going to happen. What's going to happen here?
Could you leap up to the E?
Yep.
No, because that would be a fourth. A
Fair
fourth
enough.
is harmonic
Did you go
dissonance.
to D?
Well, we're in the key of E, so it would have to be a D sharp. If we went to D, that wouldn't technically be wrong. It would just suddenly become modal instead of tonal.
Could you go to G?
Then
Well,
we're
well,
implying
no.
that that is a
No.
1-6-4 chord. Maybe. is the answer.
No.
I believe the answer is
F sharp.
Okay.
B. Now, why?
So we can apply 5.
Yeah.
Right, now the next note,
G.
A. No, A.
G.
C.
G.
I don't know about C.
G.
F sharp.
C is gonna make,
G.
I'm gonna think G, F sharp, G,
B.
maybe.
D sharp.
Hey, you can go D sharp E.
Ooh. Yeah.
Why did I go to A there? What is wrong with Dr. Durant? I explained all this, that it had to be like that, right? And it's clearly the most screwed up thing I've done today.
Well, guess what took me about here?
Oh no.